got practices coming up. Just, I guess, what are the overall goals you're looking to get in, like in the next couple of weeks before you head down to Texas?
We're excited to get on the field. We've been on the field now for a couple weeks. The hours changed. We're getting into a 20-hour-a-week segment versus an 8-hour-a-week segment. And so that's exciting that we get into that segment. And we're looking to get better every day.
What does it mean to start the season down there in Dallas and take on some Big 12 teams and get the season going that way?
It's an honor to be picked for these tournaments now that we weren't getting called for when years ago, and now we are. And so you'll see not only this year, but I think for the next several years, there's a preseason, an elite marquee type of a tournament like this one, the Shriners Classic down at the Texas Rangers Stadium in Arlington, which is really an honor to be invited. And so the answers are easy when you get invited to those things. It's usually yes. It's like being in I think it's the Maui deal for basketball, or some of those things that are really elite, high profile tournaments. That's what this is all about. And so for the next several years, we are getting those invites, and it's a reflection that I think the program's improving and getting better, and we need to continue to do that.
I think we may have asked you about it during your fall ball, but has it hit you that this is kind of the last year of Pac-12 baseball as we know it? Not
really. No. I mean, I've been in the Pac-12 and at this level for a long time as an assistant or a head coach. And it's a little sad that, the Pac-12 for sure getting blown up and stuff. I mean, it's been a great conference. I'm not in charge of those decisions, and wherever we get a chance to play, at least we got a job and we get to play. We learned that in COVID. At least we get a chance to be outside.
It's kind of a broad question, but just your thoughts on your guys' pitching staff and just getting some guys back from last year from injury. Just what do you think of them so far?
It's great. All the kids that were dinged up a little bit last year are back. Isaac Aon, RJ Gordon, two guys that missed last year entirely, are back and have been throwing very well. We haven't had any setbacks with them at all, which is great. All the kids that were dinged up at all last year, though, are throwing. They're throwing regularly. They're throwing in scrimmages starting Friday, and they've been looking good. So it's been definitely trending in the right direction for sure.
Isaac in particular, does he look like the old Isaac when we last saw him in, what would that have been, May of 2022 last time?
He looked very good. Yeah.
What do you think this whole kind of year has done for him development-wise when you can't be on the field, just kind of growing his game from a mental aspect?
Well, that's a TBA, right? We'll see how much he's matured mentally. I can tell you his pitching delivery is it's smoother, it's less effort, and there's a lot of positives from what we're seeing from a mechanics standpoint as well. Give credit to Coach Hawksworth and Isaac for making adjustments that he's needed to make to be able to say that. But they're the kids that have fought back from an injury, they're more physical, they're strong. Sitting out a year, I can only imagine what that the mental strain that it takes there. And so I think the easy deduction would be that somebody who's gone through that is probably going to gain some mental toughness and some strength there. So we sure hope that's the case.
You guys are replacing your whole outfield from last year. Just what are some of the traits that you're looking for in guys like Casella or Hurd or Neville or Betcher? What are the traits you're looking for when you're trying to decide the starters?
I want to see what we saw last year, the excitement of Riku, Colby Shade, and Tanner Smith. It's hard to replace those guys. And yet some of the guys we have right now are really exciting players. You're not talking about guys that haven't had experience and done well. Casella has a lot of experience at college level, and he's played remarkably well. His last half of last year in 2023 was up there amongst the best out of anybody's second half of the season in the country last year. And so with Justin, that's really awesome. With Hurd, he had a tremendous year last year at Sac State, and now he's in our uniform. Betcher's dying to, get a full season crack at it. He's big and strong, and there's others as well that are out there that are playing really well. Mason Neville.
Coach Hawk, what have you seen from him and the pitching staff, and how he's been able to get in with those arms, and what impact he's making throughout this offseason as we ramp up towards the season?
He's experienced. He's been on the side of, working for the Boris agency. He gets that side of it. Player development side, he's well-versed in technology and speaking modern language with pitching. He's worked with some of the best guys in Southern California. He's coached in Omaha with Cal State Fullerton. He's been around the block, and so he understands. He's been in a major league locker room and pitched at at the major league level for the Dodgers and the Cardinals, two of the best organizations in all of baseball. So there's a lot of things that he does that I can't say that I've done in my life as a baseball player or coach. And it's just exciting to be able to continue to get better. And Hawk's an awesome guy to begin with. Start with that. He's just a really sound, awesome person.
You and Dan kind of talked about what the plan is for Betcher going into spring football and obviously your season.
Dan and I talk about it every day. He's great. He's been on the road recruiting, and he might be bouncing into some baseball, football players out there on the road that we may see some more two-way guys show up on a campus pretty soon. And we're obviously, he's an easy guy to work with, and Dan's a guy that, as y'all know, you've been reporting, grass is greener or whatever in Eugene. It's very green in Eugene, that's for sure. And Dan's an awesome guy. His heart's in it. He's passionate. He loves Betch. We do too. And I think probably Betch's playing time in both sports just depend on how well does he do with the opportunities he gets, and if he does, then I think Dan and I are looking for the same thing. We're just looking for elite players.
Second base is another kind of hole that you guys have to fill this year. Just who are some of the names that you're kind of looking at, and again, some of the traits that you want to see in a second baseman? Well,
I mean, we're replacing a ton of position players, right? But there's guys that are really, really good behind the guys that we lost last year. And so we kind of had the model for what it looks like with the players that we had last year. And so they saw it firsthand. We've got two freshmen that are out there right now that are killing it. Maddox Maloney, local kid. We got a Cooney kid from up the road at Jesuit High School that was on that same team that Noble Meyer got a lot of the pub and the hype. And those two guys are absolutely tremendous players and have been killing it. Jack Brooks is a returner for us, second baseman as well, amongst other guys. Drew Smith has been playing a lot of second base for us because Jackson Jaha has been doing a good job over at third base. So we got a lot of competition on the infield right now, which is great. There's good players.
Is the hope that Drew kind of makes that second base spot his own, or do you think he could bounce around quite a bit, just kind of depending on lineup situation?
Best lineup, we'll figure that out. Yeah, he's a talented kid. He can play. If you can play the middle of the infield, you probably play third base, and he's outstanding at third. We already knew that. And now he's kind of diversifying into other spots on the field. I mean, he could probably even play shortstop if needed. We don't have him working there right now, but he's that good.
Walsh talked about kind of shortening his swing and getting that kind of honed in. He had some ups and downs last year. Just where have you seen him improve over the offseason?
Some ups and downs, but I bet if he jumped into the portal, there would be probably everybody in the top 5 would be begging him to come to their program. He's that good. And he didn't jump into the portal, thank goodness. He's a great kid. Shortening his swing, just being more consistent. I think all the hitters are working to do that. And Jacob, he had a tremendous year last year. For a guy that hit 16, 17 home runs a year ago, for us to criticize us, that's like taking a major leaguer and saying, "Oh, you only hit 40 home runs last year. What are you going to do to get better?" That's a tough one. He had a great year last year, and we look for another great year from him this year. Physically, the guy looks amazing. He's still my wife's favorite player because he's that well-rounded of a human being. He's just an awesome kid. And, by the way, behind him, he's got a little tiny guy named Dominic Hellman that's only 6'6", and he's really a talented player as well. So you got a lot of players that are good players here.
Have you seen Walsh kind of step up from a leadership standpoint, just going into his third year in the program?
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, he checks all those boxes.
How difficult is it for a guy like Dom Hellman to, he's a talent in his own right, to get him into the lineup basically every day? Just how difficult is that for you guys as a staff, just kind of mixing and matching all the talent you have?
It might not be that difficult. If he continues to do what Dom's been doing in scrimmages, it'll probably be one of the easier decisions we have.